Yo, Shabbat Shalom, and giving all praises to Ahaya Shahaya, the I am that I am of Exodus 3:14, through the name of the Messiah, the Savior Yasha, that's Matthew 21:9, through wisdom, Kakamawa, which is the Holy Spirit, Proverbs 8:9-1. Coming at you in this lesson, I want to just break it down real quick to y'all. What is this astrology thing? You know what I'm saying? Because I keep getting a lot of people that'll come at me and be like, hey, well, you know, why is this true? You know, this lines up with this, and I can see this, that, and I know astrology is wrong, but how is this so? Then you got other people on the other side of it that follow it to the T. People will base relationships off of it, the everyday lifestyle off of it, everything off of it. But what is it? What is it really? And the Bible doesn't speak highly of it, and most people can grasp that concept, you know, once they get the reading. But then you have people in Christian church that will follow their horoscope. So right now, what we're gonna do is lay it all out on the table, so that you can decide if you're gonna follow the Most High, or you're gonna continue following the ways of the world. So let's get right to it. Let's go to the draft. Okay. So the first thing we gotta do is we gotta define what is astrology and what is astronomy. Because there's two different things. Understanding the stars and the planet, understanding the stars and the sun and the moon and how they operate, and in terms of how you dictate what time of day it is or what season it is or things of that nature is one thing. You're looking for signs that the Most High sent, that's one thing. Then using those same aspects to judge your life is a whole different other thing. Okay, so I'm gonna read from some encyclopedia websites, and I'm gonna have some books and some sources down in the comment section. Okay, it says the difference between astrology and astronomy: they aren't accurate, they are vague enough that they can apply to anyone. Okay, I'm gonna read some things, some horoscopes that can apply to anyone. Some of these I made up, some of them I got random from different quote-unquote signs. Okay, you see if you could decipher which ones I made up and which ones I actually got from the website. It said you enjoy the company of others, but at times prefer to be alone. You had someone betray you in the past, so you keep your guard up when meeting new people. Your unrestrained optimism scatters your energy today. You are a deep thinking and loving person and can be very warm once someone gets to know you. Take some time to wander into a wisdom wormhole and you will come out more informed. You may wish to possess a good number of things you believe are necessary to your well-being, but whether they're indeed essential remains to be seen. Or the last one, you may try to downplay your growing excitement about a project or an enterprise. However, it's a good idea to embrace the enthusiasm, especially if you're collaborating with others to manifest the dream. Like, I can go and say these to anybody on the street, and they would sit there and think for a second and plug themselves into it, because it's so vague, it's easy for you to do that. Okay? But it says here, horoscopes have no basis of any kind in hard science. And there's a difference, as I covered before, between science and like a reality science and the science that we are taught in schools. The science that we're taught in schools is based on theory, man's theory. It's not based on real science. What is real science? Real science, you have a hypothesis, you have experimentation, you have an observation, then you have a conclusion. If you don't have those four things, you don't have real science. You just have a theory. Nobody observed the Big Bang. Nobody can do an experiment to prove the Big Bang. So therefore, that's a theory, you know, but density can be proven. Wow, if something's denser than air, it falls. If something's lighter than air, of course, it rises. So that's something that can be observed, it could be tested, and it could be proven. It could be, you know, witnessed. Okay, so astrology consists of a number of belief systems that hold that there is a relationship between astronomical phenomena and events are descriptions of personality in the human world. That's basically saying the position of the stars and the orbit can have an effect on somebody's personality. It's a belief system. Okay, it's a belief system. The most famous test was headed by Sean Carlson and included a committee of scientists and a committee of astrologers that led to the conclusion that the natal astrology performed no better than chance. It's no better than chance, like I said. It's because it was a day when I used to follow all of this stuff. I used to follow astrology and the tarot card reading, all that type of stuff. And sometimes, like, what tripped me out was something when it would come up heads, when it would come up right, and I'd be like, man, like, is this what it is? But the fact of the matter is, it's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just a game of chance. Okay. So it led to there was no better than chance. Astrology and psychologist Michael Gauquelin claimed to have found statistical support for the Mars effect in the birth dates of athletes, but it could not be replicated in further studies. So it couldn't be replicated. So he found that certain athletes' names and birth date meant something, but he couldn't prove it. You know, so again, because this stuff it's just about chance. It's not about actually trying to have some hardcore data that can be tested and proven over and over, which is real science. Okay. So it says, where am I here? Okay, astrology has not demonstrated its effectiveness in controlled studies and has no scientific validity and is thus regarded as pseudo-science. So I'm gonna have those sources again in the description box. Okay, so we're gonna move right on to section 2. Where did it come from? So you look at, people like to say Egypt. Egypt is one of the oldest civilizations in the world, but it's not the oldest. You look at the land of Ur and Sumeria, going more toward the east in the lands of Iraq and Iran. Those are the oldest civilizations. The oldest pyramids are found there and everything else. So this is where Egypt got a lot of their you know, ideas about how to operate in the world, which we know the Egyptians went off. Okay, so they got it from Ur 4000 BC. Where did they get it from? It began with Nimrod. We're gonna be talking about Nimrod in this too. You got Nimrod, his mother wife Semiramis, and the virgin birth of Tammuz. Okay, this is the one that's talked about in Ezekiel 8. What happened was Nimrod was the first king after the flood, and when he rose up and he reigned, he was more wicked than the people that were before the flood. Okay, and I'll put the verse up here in Jubilees 8. It was talking about how the Canaan, a brother named Canaan, not Cain, but Canaan, had found a writing of the Watchers, and the writing of the Watchers basically was able to map the stars, the you know, the different you know, eclipses and hell and the seasons and everything else. And what happened was in Egypt, it was like a hierarchy, kind of like what we see with Freemasonry today, where you got the top level Freemason. They got all this knowledge, they got all this understanding, even though it's worldly, but it's still, they understand it, but they don't give it to the masses. They don't even give it to their first level tier. You got to get a couple degrees, and then they'll start telling you more truths. They really lie to you in the younger, I should say, the lesser ranks. You know what I'm saying? But once you get up, they start telling you the truth. And it's the same with ancient Egypt. They would know when an eclipse would happen or a storm would happen, because they were able to map the clouds and the different signs, because they were dealing with the writings of the fallen ones. Okay, the Anunnaki, whatever, the star people. Okay, so whenever, like the Pharaoh was seen as a god on earth, just much like people treat the president as a kind of god. So what would happen was the Pharaoh would be like, hey, y'all need to tithe X amount of gold coins to me by Thursday. Let's say it's Tuesday. Let's say you have to tithe this amount, and if you don't, I'm gonna black out the sun on Thursday. And you know, some people will be scared and do it. Of course, they respect people, just like today, they respect people in high places. But for those scoffers, how he would win them over was on Thursday, they would know an eclipse was coming. So when the eclipse came, people would be like, oh, Pharaoh is God. Okay, so they begin to deify their ancestors, and this is where all the foolishness comes into play. You got people praying to dead ancestors, and what the ancestors would do would say, well, when I die, I'm gonna be that star, or they would, you know, put themselves into a box where whenever they died, they would become gods. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes even before they died. You know, Julius Caesar was one claiming he was God before he died. And nobody fought him on it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody fought these people on it, because we as humans, we respect authority. you know what I'm saying, and people in high position. So this is where it started. So when Nimrod died, he was deified as the sun. Okay, he married his mother wife Samaramses. You know, we see the Easter egg, like I went over in the past videos, like Lady Gaga coming down on the red carpet in that egg she been in for 3 days. The Heros Gamos, which was it was a ritual orgy that they used to have in Easter, where all the priests would get with the chambermaids, the whores that was in there, and 9 months later they would have a birth, which is in the middle of the end of December, and 3 months later they sacrificed that child on the altar. Okay, it's called Heros Gamos. So he married his mother wife, he died, which we're gonna go into. She did the Heros Gamos with one of those priests, had a child, said the child was a virgin birth. The child was Tammuz, so boom, and she deified herself as the moon. So you got Nimrod as the sun, her as the moon, the virgin birth, Tammuz. And this was the trinity that started all the trinities that you see in the earth. Okay, now in the scriptures it's called a godhead, and it's not described anything like how they describe it. It has nothing to do with what they're dealing with, but what Satan does, he takes things, as you know, and twists them. Okay? But this is going to play into the NWO religion once we get to the end. But Mesopotamia and the Babylonians from 4000 BC. Astronomical observation begins with the early civilization of Mesopotamia, like Ur, where prominent constellations are the patterns formed by stars in the galaxy or in the sky, are recognized and named soon after 4000 BC. Similarly, the sky watchers of Mesopotamia identified the 5 wandering stars, which the sun and moon formed the 7 original planets, are Greek for wanderers. So which I'm gonna cover at the end, but these planets, what people call planets, are actually just different colored stars. Not all stars are made the same, just like not all animals in the sea is made the same, like all animals on the earth ain't the same, but people think all stars are the same. No, different colors, different shapes, and everything else that comes with it. Okay, so Bible Strong's Greek 107, planethes, okay, it means a wanderer. Okay, helps word studies. You see down here it says properly a wandering star, planet, a false teacher operating without moral compass and exploiting other aimless people, prompting them to also stray from God's circle of safety or his sound doctrine. So when Satan fell, like I've been over a million times, he didn't fall by himself. He fell with the third of the stars. Okay, the third of those stars are the gods of all these religions you see in the earth. They do carry some power, but they don't carry the ultimate power, which is the power of the Most High. Okay, let's read where that word was used for planets. Okay, Jude 1:13-14. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. Now I want to make a distinction here. In verse 13, he's talking about a different star, our angel, and he's talking about in verse 14. In verse 13, he says, foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, those ones that are teaching men to go astray. Now 14, he's talking about Enoch that was prophesying of these, the 7th from Adam being Enoch. He's saying that the Lord comes with 10,000s of his saints. So again, where every time people, I see on my on media, when they see somebody spotted a quote, a chariot, chariot of the sky, or UFO, or some astronomical thing in the space, they want to automatically say, oh yeah, that's the Most High, and that's the Most High. You don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And how you would know is you would just have to use discernment. But when you think every single one is of him, that's not true. Okay, because every single one isn't of him. Just like I don't think every single one is of Beelzebub either. It's one of the fallen angels either. It can be either one. You got to really test the fruits and use discernment. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about it is Satan likes to mask the Most High. It's like the Most High is going to do wonders in the last days. Satan going to be doing lying wonders in the last days. So you're going to have to discern which one is which. But it's not wise in my opinion, my educated opinion, to think that everyone is good or think that everyone is bad. Okay, Jude 1 and 6, it says, the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting change under darkness until the judgment of that great day. So this is the whole pyramid thing I keep covering, where you see the capstone on the pyramid. That's the Azazel. That's who they're waiting to rise from the bottomless pit. Okay, the angel of the bottomless pit. All right. So again, we're just getting into the history of it and what it really is and what it began. Okay, and this is from historyworld.net. All right. Okay, so what they did was they mapped the sun or the racing clouds or darkness followed by thunder and lightning. And on a clear night, the sky is opposite, it's predictable. And if you look hard enough, you'll have recognizable groups of stars moving in a slow and reliable manner. Because as I'm going to cover in Genesis 1, the Most High put these things into the atmosphere so that we can understand the calendar and also understand the signs and of the times. Okay, that's what he did it for, not for us to worship it. Okay, at the heart of three separate stories: astronomy, astrology, and the calendar, which I just said astronomy and the calendar are one and the same. Astrology is when you're basing where a star is, or what people misquoted as being planets, and put that on your life. Okay, something all those thousands of miles away has nothing to do with how we operate. Okay. Where am I here? Okay, it says astronomy is the scientific study of the sun, moon, and stars. So again, astronomy is, okay, like how we know how much daylight we're going to get, how we know when it's planting season, I mean, things of that nature, the temperature, you know, so we know, okay, last summer the sun was in this position in the sky and it was this hot. Like, that's scientific. Okay. It says astrology is a pseudo-science interpreting the supposed effect of those heavenly bodies on human existence. In early history, the two are closely linked. The sky is the home of it says here, the sky is the home of many of the gods who influence life on earth. So you see what it says astrology is talking about gods. What does Exodus 20 say about different gods? Okay, and the patterns in the sky most surely reflect that influence. So they believe, again, based on when you were born, the pattern that the stars were in, that somehow affects your life. I'm telling you, it doesn't. It hasn't been proven, and there's been many experiments. I just named you a few, but there's many you can look up. Never proved it. So let's get more into the spiritual aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? How does it rule people like that? Or how do people allow it to rule them like that? Okay, Wisdom of Solomon 13, 1 through 6. I know I read this on my last video. I'll read it again. I'm only going to read the first 6 verses. Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of a higher, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is, neither by considering the works that they acknowledge the workmaster. So they see the works, never acknowledge him. Like Romans 1 say, they worship the creation, not the creator. Verse 2, but deem either fire, or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven, which are the stars we're talking about, to be the gods which govern the world. So this is why the witches and the warlocks, if you look on any of their websites, this is from their information, from their mouth. This is what they worship. They worship the stars, they worship the trees, the moon. You don't have to go that far. Just look at what the people of Africa have fell astray to for thousands of years, man. This is what it is, because it all stemmed from that first mystery religion, and it's gonna come back too. With those whose beauty of being delighted took them to be gods, let them know how much better the Lord of them is. For the first author of beauty have created them. So it's saying that the first author, if this is as beautiful as we see it is, which it is, the first author of beauty created them. Okay. They were astonished at their power and virtue. Let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made them. For by the greatness and beauty of the creatures proportionally the maker of them is seen. But yet for this they are less to be blamed, for they pre-adventure seeking God and desirous to find him. So they they seem desirous to find it, but really they just want to worship something they can see. This is why they go and start dealing with idols. Okay, so you see here that this is where the religions lead back to. They lead to the worship of the host of heaven, the sun, the moon, and the stars. This is why you got all these sun deities. Jesus, not the one of the Bible, but the one of the Christian church, is a sun deity. Buddha's a sun deity. Luna, where we get lunar from, that's a moon deity. The Greeks worship Luna. I mean, you got all types of stars that they worship. The Lord of Sirius in Islam. I mean, this is literally what it is, y'all. This is what it boils down to, and people just want to keep astrology like at an arm's length, like, oh, I don't want to know, I just want to see what mine say, but they don't really want to go into where it came from. We're going to get into it. So this is where the religion came from, y'all. So the definition of astronomy. Astronomy is the branch of science which deals with celestial objects, space, and the physical universe as a whole. So again, we're dealing with the movements of the bodies, the celestial bodies, okay? That's what astronomy is, all right? Not astrology. Okay, so the biblical use of astronomy. Okay, Psalm 147:4 says, He telleth the number of the stars and calleth them all by their names. So the Most High named all the stars, y'all. Okay, so the stars themselves aren't evil, but the worship of them is. Matthew 2:2 saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? Talking about Yasha here, or the Yehudi. For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So again, the Most High put stars in play. I should say He put signs in the stars in the heavens, you know, so we would know what to do. Just like in Egypt, He had a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night to lead the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? So that, in that sense, we're following something that He told us to look for. We're following the sign that He told us to look for, not placing that sign over our life when we're doing this stuff. Just like He talked about the blood moons before the day of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You just got to take it into play. Psalms 8:3. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, because He ordained them to move in a certain way. And what happened is people worship those movements and worship those things. You know, that's not what He created it for. Okay. In Job 9:9, I'm going to read a couple from Job, because he breaks down a lot about the earth in Job. He says, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. So He's saying He made those constellations. The Most High is not calling the constellations themselves evil, but the worship of them absolutely is evil. Okay? You worship He that created them, not the creation. Alright? So it says, canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? So He's saying, he's asking Job, you know, Job's asking him, well, how do I know you this and that? Well, he's like, well, can you guide the stars? Can you guide those constellations? That you can't do it. Okay, we're dealing with a power that's higher than man, you understand? So Genesis 1:14, this is where I'm coming from, where I'm talking about using it in a righteous manner. This is righteous manner. This is what Abraham, when he was saying I think in Joshua, when he said that he was teaching the Egyptians about it, it's what he was teaching them, stuff that his forefathers already knew. It's how we was able to guide ourselves and even get to the land called Azra, okay, which is America. Genesis 1:14, and Ahia said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. So that's what we use to map. Okay, to map what? The seasons, days, and years, and we also use it for what? Signs, okay? And the Bible says it's evil. In verse 18, He says, and God saw that it was good. So nothing, again, He didn't make that evil. All right, so boom. You go to Amos 5:8. It says, seek Him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion. We're going to be talking about Orion in this one, okay? Because the occult worship Orion, and I'm going to show why they worship Orion. Because it's something that keeps coming up, all right? And turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth for waters of the sea, and poureth out upon the face of the earth. Ahaya is his name. So it's saying seek him that made all that, okay, made all the stars and everything. Revelation 6 and 13, because for those that's following these stars, this is what's going to happen. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So the stars of the heavens, these are the ones that dealing with Beelzebub, who fell into the earth. This is how they start dealing with man. This is way back in Genesis 6. Okay, so when you're dealing with them, you're going to fall as well. Okay. All right. So we're going to go into the occultist aspect of worship of these things. So how does the occult, okay, you're saying that we need to worship the creator of these things, but how does the occult worship them? Well, one way is what I'm bringing out here, astrology. Astrology, fortune telling, witchcraft. When you see these people doing these feats, I keep showing y'all video after video, especially for the atheists and the scoffers. I'm like, okay, well, how did this guy do this? How did this guy do this on camera? And this isn't just me presenting it. You can go to other websites that don't have nothing to do with the Bible showing this stuff. And they're showing the same footage, same things. People eyewitness accounts of this stuff. So these things do have power. So this is the power. Like, matter of fact, when I did the video about the magicians doing all these feats, even in front of people, in front of doctors, in front of scientists that couldn't decipher how they did these things. They're using these same powers, okay? They're just channeling them on a deeper level, okay? Because one thing I will say before I go forward is when you're dealing with somebody that's really deep, into the occult, they get to dealing with demons and spirits, and they use these in unison with the vagueness and the lies. So they have a little bit more insight, because as you know, there's an unseen world, and these things are among us. These demons and things are among us. So when they go to a psychic, and they'll be like, okay, you got this in your house and that, and start describing. You're like, man, how can they describe? That's not vague. How can they describe everything in the house to the T? No, it's because them spirits that people be following unknowingly or knowingly follow them around. They see all their sins, man. They see what they're doing. So, and that spirit reports to that psychic, because that psychic, they're working on that level, and they can tell that person things about them on a specific level as well.
Despite his newfound power and money, Curtis began to see voodoo's dark side.
She taught me what the love potions were, how to use them, how to slow a person's business down. As far as if you wanted to work a person over real bad with pavor nocturnus. Pavor nocturnus is a really bad thing. Night terror. She showed me what how to put a person in Nemos. Nemos is to put a person in a vicious spiral that they can never get out of. And the more they pay you to cast a spell off of them, the more they get wrapped into the spell. It's called Nemo cycle. And she said you keep a person in Nemo cycle, you'll never be broke, because I got to keep coming back to you to get another spell and another spell, get them off of that spell. You keep a person in Nemo cycle, you'll never be broke, because I got to keep coming back to you to get another spell and another spell, get them off of that spell, another spell off of that spell. And she was really, really a wicked person, and she was into control, manipulation, and keeping the person bound and attached to her. And that's what she was teaching me. She taught me, so many things, but those were one of the main two things that she was teaching me. And she took advantage of them not having a whole lot of money and trying to get over real fast. And many of them, they were into the occult. They were not witches, but they believed that if God took too long, the occult would get it right now. They wanted that quick fix. And she was there to receive them. She's like a catcher's mitt, there to catch you, And at $20 back then was a lot of money, $20 not like it is now. That's just a tip now. But $20 back then was a lot of money, and she would charge like $20 to say you had a like I said, a condition, physical condition. And what they would do with your physical condition, they didn't have the power to heal you. If you had a cramp right here, they would remove the cramp from here and they would put it down here in your knee. They would shift it. Shift it. It's called witchcraft, called shifting, where you can't heal, you don't have that power, but you shift. And they teach you she teaches me how to shift things from here to there. I move it over here. What you do, you get a whole lot of people together in one room, all miserable, all suffering. You charge them $20, and you don't give them all of it. You give them a piece of the information to keep them coming back. And as a child, I stood there and I watched, and I said, this lady sure can't control people. She has a very crafty way of controlling people. And many of the people that she was controlling, they went to church on a regular basis. She would say, oh, isn't God good? Oh, don't we praise God today? And I would stand off in the corner watching it. Oh, isn't God good? But see, I can run up and down the stairs and see and bring her supply of witchcraft stuff. Bring me this, bring me that, and bring me my pouch of this, or bring me this, bring me my oil, bring me this. And I would bring this to her, and the people would give her the money, and she would give them this pouch, and they would go home, and I would watch husband after husband, boyfriend after boyfriend come back, because as usual, she was using.
One day, the voodoo priestess showed young Curtis a doll.
And I was standing there in amazement. I said, how can a doll have how can you communicate with it with an object that's not even human? But what it was, through this doll, the entity was housed, and it could talk. Okay, it's a spirit that goes inside of an inanimate object and can actually communicate. It can spin his head around, it can flap his eyes, it can move his mouth. But when you go to approach it, it just sits there. You'll just sit there and not move. But when she talked to it, it communicated. It told her what person is coming tonight and what problem they had, because it's a familiar spirit. That spirit can leave that doll, run to a person's house in the neighborhood, and show them each one of their problems, or show her each one of the people's problems. Case in point, one time in particular, she was doing another meeting at her house, and the doll told her certain things. And so at the meeting, I was there with her, and she says, praise the Lord, I'm glad you're all here today. She said, you right there, lady, right there. She said, you have a dresser drawer in your house. And inside of that dresser drawer, you have this, that, and she itemized everything that was in her dresser drawer and never been to her house. Now, most people go to church and say, oh, that's the spirit of prophecy, hallelujah. She started hallelujah and going on, and I was there like a child like this. Okay. Lady, if you only knew, this is witchcraft, this is sorcery, that's a voodoo priestess there. And you know what? It wasn't free. The offering would grow then. Every time she would prophesy, I call it prophesy to somebody out of God, the people would just throw money at her,
As Curtis plunged deeper into voodoo, he became frightened by strange apparitions that happened in his own bedroom.
The voodoo priestess came into my room and set up all her fetishes and paraphernalia in my room. And when she did that, then those things start coming through the floor. They started I would have things run through my room, and I would see them running through my room about this big, chasing and running. And one particular time, I was asleep, and all of her stuff was on my desk. This stuff, powders and all kinds of things, and parts of animals, and hair, and fingernails, and all those things. That's why you got to be very careful who you give your hair and fingernails to. Seriously. They say, I want to collect your fingernails. Why you want to collect my fingernails? Oh, I gotta do something. That's okay. Oh, I want to get a lock of your hair. Why you want a lock of my hair for? Oh, I just want to, why you want a lock of my hair? No, I just want to, so be very careful who you just keep your eyes open on some of those things, And so she had my dresser drawer off filled with all kinds of stuff. And one day I was laying down and I heard something shaking under my bed. I said, what in the world is that shaking under here? So I woke up all the way and I turned the lights on. I said, what can this be shaking under my bed? What is this? So I looked under the bed and then I saw my dad. I said, Dad, what you doing under this bed? What's going on? You know, to myself, I said, you sort of old to be playing these kind of games. You know, it's late, go downstairs and go to sleep. He didn't say anything, just got a grin on his face like this. And but his skin tone was green and he was all scaly. And I had never seen anything like this before. I said, Dad, what kind of stuff is this? And then he came out from under the bed, and the more he came up, he had the top torso part of him, but the bottom of him was like a fish's body, green scales like a fish. And he came up and he smiled at me and he laughed at me, and then he did one of these numbers and dived and went right through the floor. And at that time I freaked out. I said, oh my God, this lady is really
real, y'all. No, it sounds crazy, but that's what it is. But the Most High didn't tell Israel to do any of that. This is in the law, Deuteronomy 4:19. He say, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, you got to look at how much Israel worshiped the host of heaven, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which Ahia thy power had divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. So he didn't give that to Israel to worship. He knew that other nations would worship that, so he gave them up to do that. But he didn't give Israel the license to do that. So Psalm 148:3, it says, praise ye him, sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light. So even the stars that people worship, in the end, they worship in the Most High. So again, that's why people say all praise, all glory. Like all glory does go back to the Father. Because even though people following these things, in reality, those stars, the ones that just moving and not the ones that fell, but the ones that just moving in their circuit, as we showed on the biblical flat earth model, and flat earthers showed on the flat earth model how they move, they're worshiping the Most High. This whole creation is gonna like he said, he will be exalted in the heavens, he will be exalted in the earth. Who's gonna exalt him in the heavens? The stars, y'all. Okay, so boom, let's get to it. You see right here, this is again talking about NASA with the sun worship, because if you don't think that they understand the world better than they do, they absolutely do. All these space agencies do. So they keep us indoctrinated on a large level from a youth, from age 3 and up. You know, even probably before that, they give you what the big globe earth ball, and so by the time you 23 and plus and or 18 or whatever, you hear about flat earth, like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Because they've been indoctrinated, because their God is that sun. That's why their building looks just like the old sun temple that they made for Ra, which is Satan. Speaking of Satan, let's read some things Satan did, because they gave a 5-point plan of what he's going to do. If you notice the Hollywood stars, this is why they have that 5-pointed star on Hollywood, the same star that Satan has for the witchcraft. It's the same star. Okay? People have completely sold out and their soul is gone. Isaiah 14:13-14. This is the 5 things Satan said he was going to do. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. That's 1. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, because Satan wanted to be the leader of those stars. That's why only 1/3 of them said, okay, we'll let you be our leader, and failed. But the other 2/3, what? They're still in the heavens, correct? So he wanted to be exalt his throne above the stars of Ahia. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. That's 3. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. That's 4. And number 5, I will be like the Most High. Okay, so boom, you see here, dealing with Leonardo da Vinci, who was a homosexual. He seen the Fibonacci model, which I brought out in the Mandela effect, the video, about how we are divinely made. And you can look at this creation and see it's the divine. There's a pattern. There's even a pattern to it. And when you notice this pattern, you start to see it in different aspects of his creation. But again, we're not supposed to worship that creation. He's just showing it's divinely made. Just like an artist signs the name at the bottom of a painting. The same way that the Most High put his mark on everything he made. Doesn't mean to worship it though. Okay, but he's seen that Fibonacci model in the man, and that's when you know, again, because just like Satan wants to be like the Most High God, his followers, he tells them what? The same thing the serpent told Eve: you can be God. So that's why that whole 3:14, that I am, like when you see this movie on Netflix, I Am Mother, you know, and all these artists got albums, I am all over the place. They're mocking the Most High. This is the 8th level of Tao Freemasonry, where they ask you, are you a Freemason? And your response is to be, I am that I am. They're blaspheming the name of the Most High. They're just not doing it in Hebrew, okay? Which is in the Hebrew Ahaya, Ashar. So in 2 Kings 21:5, and he built altars for the host of heaven in the 2 courts of the house of Ahaya. Same thing in 2 Chronicles 33:5, and he built altars for all the host of heaven in the 2 courts in the house of the Lord. So this is when he kept talking about there was a righteous king would rise and take down the altars. These are the altars he was talking about. Deuteronomy 17:3, and hath gone and served other gods and worshipped them, either the sun or moon or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have not commanded. So again, you know, he repeats himself. He has precepts. This is the precepts before, so you don't have to get confused. What did he mean by that? He's telling you. Okay, Jeremiah 8:2, and this is why people are like, oh, well, where's the bones? Where's the? Even though there's all this proof, they always ask for where's the bones, right? Jeremiah 8:2. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the host of heaven, whom they have loved and have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, but be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. So this is talking about the bones of our ancestors. For them walking behind the stars, the sun, the moon, and all the host of heaven, their bones were scattered for them. They would not be buried. So what happens if you don't bury it? It just erodes and blows away in the wind, right? So that's what happened. 2 Kings 17:16. And they left all the commandments of Ahijah their power, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worship all the host of heaven, and served Baal. So when you're worshiping the host of heaven, these stars and these sun and moon, and even the creation, what you're doing is serving Baal. Yes, he made them, but he didn't make them again to be worshipped. Even Yasha said, worship is for the Father only. That means it's set apart, it's set aside. Okay, this is why Israel was called the whore, because Israel worshipped everything. Okay, 2 Kings, all you gotta do is read 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles. Constantly went astray. The curses didn't come for no reason, man. 2 Kings 23:5, and he put down the idolatrous priests, so again the priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets. This is one verse you'll find the word planets in the Old Testament. And to all the hosts of heaven. So this is what they did. They burned incense to the host of heaven. Okay, that doesn't mean burning incense is wrong, because you can read other passages where it says we burn incense and it was a sweet savior, because we're burning it to a height. It's just like a knife. If somebody has a knife on them or a gun on them, that don't necessarily mean that that's a bad person or they got bad intentions. It's how they use it. Okay? So, you know, for us to have incense and have gold and have and give sacrifice to the Most High was a bountiful thing. This is when the first 15 verses of Deuteronomy 28 talks about how we was blessed. But the other 15 through 68 shows what happens when we got cursed. Because what we did was we started offering that to other gods. This is why there's that verse in there that says, you will serve other gods, even wood and stone, whom your fathers have not known. Speaking of our righteous fathers, not our unrighteous. Because this is what it is. When you're dealing with those type of things, and I guarantee y'all look at anybody that deals with the horoscope, astrology, witchcraft, any of that, they got some idol somewhere that they're reverencing. And I mean in the physical form, not just that, because that in itself is idolatry, but in its physical form, they're gonna have a chain, a stone, a cross, a prayer bead. They're gonna have something that they reverence that they feel like connects them to that belief. Man, y'all watch. So first, I'm gonna show y'all this pic right here with the Avengers. Okay, and I brought this out a while ago, but you see the guy when he puts up those shields, and y'all watch that movie again, and y'all will see the astrology sign is inside those shields. This is where, and for you Christians while watching this is where you get your holidays from. Your holidays don't come from the Bible. Your holidays come from this witchcraft wheel I'm showing you. Okay, you see this next picture I'm showing you right here. This is the Moloch star. This 6-pointed star is of Moloch. This is why it's in everything. It's in religion, politics, money, finances, everything. Okay, and you see that there. And you see here again. This is where religion stems from, as I put on y'all earlier. This is when you think of religion and faith, it's two different things. When you're dealing with the Most High, law, statutes, commandments, and the faith for Him, that's a righteous thing. When you're dealing with religion, you're dealing with an idol, and you're dealing with the host of heaven or the creation. Period. That's what you're worshiping, not the creator, but the creation. And this is why they don't knock it in school. You can go in school and do yoga. You can go in school and do all type of things. They'll even move a Satan statue in the school, but they won't let you have a Bible study class in school. And if they do, because I've seen a couple articles they're talking about doing, I think in some place like Kentucky. Even if they do, they're not going to teach what the Bible says verbatim. They're going to go to the Christianity 501c3 approved scriptures and their approved teachings. They're not going to go in nothing about wrath or about homosexuality or about diet, none of that. Okay? Don't be fooled, man. Remember, he's the most subtle beast of the field. So this is the end game. Isaiah 13:10, it says, "For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened and is going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine." Because again, the light from the moon, the light that the moon gets is reflected from the sun. So once the sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, the constellations, the stars are going to go dark. So all these people worshiping it on that day of the Most High, which Isaiah 13 is about, it's not going to be no light in the earth. It's going to be, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, it's going to get real out here in just a little bit. The Most High is being patient. If you're wondering, oh, well, it ain't happened. Yeah, people say, oh, that prophecy already happened. No, the end ain't came yet. Because there'll be peace if the end came, right? Acts 7:42. Then Ahiah turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven. He give you the desires of your heart. As it is written in the book of the prophets, O ye house of Israel, have ye offered to me slain beasts and sacrifices by the space of 40 years in the wilderness? Okay, so again, he gave them up to worship the host of heaven. That's what they kept doing. That's what they're doing with the two calves. Okay, Acts 14:12. This is New Testament, man. And they called Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercurius because he was the chief speaker. So if you look up that Jupiter and Mercurius, it dates back to those Greek gods. People were serving those Greek gods who the Egyptians served, who the people of Mesopotamia and Earth served. It's just the guys on the other side of the flood that was spoken about in the book of Joshua. That's all it is.
She's getting married tomorrow. That's right. And according to my chart, Sagittarius is in the house. And that means that tomorrow is a perfect day for matrimony.
Is that right? Well, hey, I don't know which my sign is. But I tell you what, when you do get married, make sure you throw the flower in your fancy so when you're on your honeymoon, I can toss her bouquet.
Sisters of Alpha Delta Zeta.
You know, I too place Greek, ladies. Observe. Oh. Kappa Phi.
You trying to get that strained look on your face? Maybe you should try some metal music.
And one of those guys, of course, is Moloch, Amos 5:26. But ye have borne the tabernacle of Moloch, and she in your image is the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. So that 6-pointed star goes back to the cube and everything else. Okay, it's esoteric. All right, as I showed y'all before, the Muslims deal with the cube, the Jewish deal with the cube. If you fold the cross into its 6 points, that cross is also a cube just folded up. Okay, so you see, do you see where it's going, y'all? Okay, Acts 7:43. Yeah, you took up the tabernacle of Moloch, the star of your God Remphan, figures which you made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. So this is what they made, a star that the people made, not a star in the sky per se, but the people made this. People always gonna say, oh, you're making stars. Even when you read this verse to them, they want to wear that 6-pointed star. It's not the Star of David. David never had a star. Matter of fact, that's more closer, if you want to call it something, it's the seal of Solomon, when Solomon was going off. Solomon started going off. If you read 2 Kings 11, I believe, and 4, his wife turned his heart away because he was dealing with all these different nations of wives who were serving all these different gods. And he began to serve those guys as well. Okay? And he proposed that seal. Doesn't make it holy though. Okay? This is him going off. So back to Orion, when you look at this, these star patterns, okay? It's Orion's belt. That's what they talk about in Men in Black. The occult really worship Orion. If you look at the Egyptians, you look at anything occult, they speak heavily on Orion.
Struggle to prevent war. The galaxy is often Orion's. What is word? Belt. Orion's belt. Flashy thing already.
Hey, one of you guys are gonna show me something if you're What made you want attention? Orion. That's a pretty name. What's this?
Okay, that's why you see here on the pyramid, Giza was made to be a reflection of Orion's belt. Okay, and Orion is nothing but Beelzebub. Okay, again, the prince of the air. All right, we're gonna expose it, man. Okay, so this is why you get in the movies, you see that Orion. This is Orion picture, and they make some of the biggest movies, some of the biggest blockbusters. You dig? And it's just more of that, just going into, you know, really what it is, okay, Orion's belt. So I'm gonna read a few paragraphs here from the website. It says the Babylonians realized that the zodiac, the sequence of constellations along which the sun and planets appear to move in their passage through the heavens, can serve as a yardstick of celestial time if divided into recognizable and equal segments. They select 12 constellations to represent these segments, many of them identified by the names of animals. The Greeks later provide the term for the zodiac when they describe it as the animal circle. Zodiacos Kyklos. Okay, the zodiac links constellations with the times of the year, and the constellations have their own links with the gods. So again, this is what they do. It's one thing to link it with the times of the year, that's astronomy, but you link it with gods, that's astrology. So scientific observation of star positions merges with the speculation about divine influence. So those 12 signs that they show, this is what this is where you get your astrology signs for. This is where you get your horoscopes from. Okay? And meanwhile, astrology benefits from the range and vitality of the Greek gods. Linked with the planets and constellation, these very human divinities make astrology and dramatic and exciting. Make human astrology dramatic and exciting. And Greek interest in the individual extends to the astrologer's range. Evolved originally to help in affairs of state, the art finds its lasting role in the casting of the fortunes of ordinary men and women. So this is what they would do. They would see that and they'd be like, well, King, I think we should do X, Y, and Z because your star is in this position. Now, if y'all know about the Bible, if y'all read the book of Daniel, if y'all read any of these books, even Herod the Great, when you're dealing with, when Yasha, Herod the Great, the Idumean king, the Edomite Khazarian king, when he couldn't figure out something, what did he do? He called his wise men, his diviners and enchanters. Let's go back to Egypt with Moses. When the Pharaoh couldn't figure out what was going on, who did he call? His diviners and enchanters. These are the people that were dealing with astrology. Do y'all understand where I'm going with this? So let me continue to read right here. Okay, so they would cast what they see on ordinary men and women. Fortune telling is done under the belief that the universe has a pattern which one can use as clues to determine fortunes and events about a person's life. There are many different techniques used in fortune telling which have dated back even before recorded history, with evidence as far back as 4000 BC. They say 3000, but we know from research it's at least 4000. Predictive methods includes astrology, numerology, and using objects such as tea leaves and tarot cards, or character analysis such as studying the lines on the palm of the hand. Fortune telling, particularly prophetic dreams, also played an important role in ancient religion and medicine. When fortune tellers come from a religious stance, they are known as prophets. Now, these are the prophets the Most High didn't send, though. When he says, these prophets I didn't send, yet they spoke. I didn't send these prophets, yet they ran. He's talking about the ones that's dealing with this stuff. If your basis ain't the word of the Father, this is what you're dealing with by default. And all this stuff traces back to us. I got a few of them here just to show y'all. There's bibliomancy, just to show you the word Bible just means books. But it's bibliomancy, that's where they look through books frequently, but not always, some religious texts. And I can tell you this, coming from a Christian background as I did, the pastors use this a lot. Oh, you keep seeing the number 11, sister? You keep seeing the number 12, sister? Okay, well, let's go to Kings 12. And they'll just go and find a verse that's going to lead to them getting some money. Oh, the Lord bless King so-and-so, and you got a blessing coming because you keep seeing 12, and I'm in Kings 12, and the Lord wants you. And it's how you get people to get thousands and thousands of dollars. They think, they might even know that astrology and all that is going off and witchcraft is going on, but when you got a person of authority, a pastor, telling people that, man, they gonna run with it. Even the Israelites, they go astray dealing with some of these. Let me go to the next one. Cartomancy, by playing cards, tarot cards, or oracle cards. Now, this ain't just somebody playing with cards, playing a game, try to see where their future's going based on what the tarot cards are, the cards that they're using. Okay, you got chiromancy, by the shapes of the hands in the palm. This is that palm reading. They reading the lines in your palm. Geomancy, by markings in the ground, sand, earth, or soil. They see a lot of this, especially over east and overseas. They do a lot of the geomancy. You got lithomancy, by stones or gems. Some of the Israelites fall into this, where they start wearing these stones. Some of the stone got a frequency and a gem and this and that. That's what the witches do. Again, that's exactly what they do. You go to any witch coven, they got this what they rocking with. Stones and gems. That's not saying jewelry is bad, but when you're trying to use it to, you know, on that level, yeah, it is. Or even if you got a idol on it, you know what I'm saying? And then there's naviology. This is about moles, scars, or other bodily marks. Like they'll see a scar and they'll start going off on the scar, and the scar represents this, and this bump represents this in your life, and you know, and this is how they get paid, man. This is how they get paid. I'm finna show y'all some scripts on that too. Necromancy, by the dead, or spirits, or souls of the dead. The book of the dead with the Egyptians. Yeah, that necromancy is real. You know, people kissing dead bodies at funerals is not a good idea, man. You know what I'm saying? Now you're supposed to really come in contact with dead bodies, you know. In that sense especially, you know, I can't see where somebody did that, because you gotta understand, like, especially when people live not so good lives, those spirits be on the body and they'll leech on to the next person. You seen that movie with Denzel, he was walking around and he and the brother would touch his sister, and the sister would touch his sister, and that sister would touch another brother, and the spirit would just be moving. That stuff happens. That's why you're not supposed to just be letting it. And a lot of people understand this. I gotta give props to a lot of my family out there that understand that they don't just let anybody lay hands on them. And this is why. That pastor that's doing adultery, eating pork, and robbing the church, you gonna let that man lay hands on you? Then you wonder why your life is messed up the next few weeks. You know what I'm saying? That man done let some spirits off on him. Let me see. Nephilim about the shapes of the clouds. This is how I say, like the Egyptians was able to determine different things. Horoscopes by the livers of sacrificed animals. So when you see people sacrificing animals to Baal and Beelzebub, if you look back in the ancient history, especially in Babylon, not mystery Babylon, but ancient Babylon especially, that's what they did. They did it on a full moon. On a full moon, they would sacrifice a lamb, a cat, dog, horse, whatever, and they would cut out certain organs, especially the liver in this case, and use that to try to fortune tell. Ezekiel 13 and 20. This is about gypsies, okay? Wherefore thus saith the Most High Power, behold, I am against your pillows, wherewith ye hunt the souls to make them fly, and I will tear them from your arms, and will let the souls go, even the souls that ye hunt to make them fly. So this is what the pillows were, the puffy arm pillows and the handkerchiefs that the gypsies used to wear. Just from what I've been looking into, gypsies, Egypt, you know what I'm saying? It all came from that stem. It says, it told us not to do the ways of Egypt. So you had these ladies that was doing this soothsaying and this fortune telling, and you know they're very seductive. You know how it showed them in the movie Aladdin. You know the lady that had the little thing, you could just see her eyes, but like a little veil, and they would be, you know, persuading men. They would have food out there, and men would come up and do all the fortune telling, all that, to the point where when you look, I think it was in Numbers, or it might have been Jasher, but when we were passing through to get to our land, they had the women sit outside like that and let a lot of men astray. You did. That's why the Most High didn't want us dealing with those nations around us. Deuteronomy 13:1 and then 3. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or wonder, thou shalt not hearken to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for a higher your power proveth you to know whether you love a higher your power with all your heart and with all your soul. So again, dealing with dreams is a lot of things that they do too. This is why I think with Nebuchadnezzar, who did he call? He called his divine. You see also the pattern? He called his diviners and soothsayers when he had that dream. And then he built the statue of gold, you know, and he wanted everybody to bow down and worship it. So again, when they try to interpret dreams, this is what they, instead of trying to see, did the Most High send this dream or did he not? Or is this just my fleshly mind? Because a dream can come from anything, man. That's why you have to have discernment. I'm starting to see, like, if you don't have discernment, I mean, it's like you don't have a compass or a map. You lost out here. Alright, so Sirach, this is explaining what I'm saying, because the truth, a vision and dream that I had brought me into the truth, and there's been people that have had visions and dreams that brought them into the truth. But how do you know? Because when you have these visions and dreams, you can look right in the book and it'll show you exactly what you've seen. And in my case, it was books I never even read before. You know what I'm saying? So divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain, and the heart fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. If they be not sent from the Most High, so if they're not from the Most High, in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them. This is why I believe where MLK really messed up, because when he had that dream, yeah, some people would have said that that's noble, you know, for us to live in peace. But if he would have went back to the scriptures and seen if was there any peace in the end times when it came to dealing with nations and man and nationalities, it's not. And he figured that out before he died. He said he integrated us into a burning house, but at that point the damage had already been done. You know, not to say he didn't try to clean up or that the government didn't kill him, because they absolutely did. But it's just giving y'all a point that when y'all have a dream, don't run a million miles with it, man. Check the scripts. If you're going to put it on the scripts especially. It says, for dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. So yeah, I'm not telling you dream, I'm telling you to wake up, man. Leviticus 19 and 31. It said, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. So we're not even supposed to be seeking behind that stuff. People that dealing with that stuff, we're supposed to be seeking to our most high power. That's what he says right here in Isaiah 8 and 19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead? So should you seek unto the Most High, the living Father? Because what you're doing is you're seeking to somebody that's talking to these dead spirits. Okay, because what happened was, I'm going to get into that in the next section, but when the aliens came, the fallen ones, who they call aliens, the fallen angels fell to earth. They made it with woman. This is Genesis 6, and they had Nephilim beings, these Nephilim giants. These are a lot of the Greek gods. When you look at the Titans and Hercules and a lot of these beings were based upon those giants. That fee, fi, fo, fum, the blood of an Englishman, all that. This is what they did. They used to eat so much they began eating the people. You know what I'm saying? There was cannibals. Then you see these big skulls that they're finding, skull big as your bathroom. This is what it came from. Not all of them were that big, but some of them absolutely were. So that we appeared as grasshoppers in the sight of them. I mean, it speaks on it over and over and over and over and over and over. From Jubilees to the Old Testament to even the New Testament, it talks about. I mean, when David fought Goliath, who you think that was? Goliath wasn't just a big dude. Okay, he wasn't just a big dude. If you read how heavy his sword was and everything, how big his bed was, like talking about 20 feet. Come on, man. I don't think a king had a bed that big, but it's just the point. When those things died, the evil spirits came from them. So again, a lot of these soothsayers that are in the high positions of really doing it, really doing it, they are consult. That's what the whole Ouija board is. They're consulting those spirits, man. So Exodus 22 and 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. A witch wouldn't even live in our community back then. We wasn't dealing with it. It was wickedness. Acts 16 and 16, and I'll say this on the back end of that. A lot of these spirits that they be dealing with, they pose as relatives that people lost. They posed as, I mean, especially relatives that people lost, but they even pose as they're still those people, not just like they're those people message that they left, but and people will consult with these spirits. Acts 16 and 16, and it came to pass as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with a spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. So they had a sister here. They were walking around preaching the word. They had a sister that was, these brothers was leading, that was doing a lot of soothsaying, was bringing them much gain, or they was getting much money. Because people look to these things, even if they're not true, they only have to be true a few times to get them hooked. You know what I'm saying? Colossians 2 and 18, it said, let no man beguile you of your reward in the voluntary humility and worshiping of angels, because that's ultimately what you're worshiping. Okay? Intruding into those things which he had not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind. So when Yasha said all that came before me were thieves and robbers, talking about Ra, Vishnu, Krishna, Buddha, those are the thieves and liars that Yasha was talking about. These are based on those fallen angels. So when you're dealing with the spirits that came from those fallen, this is what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? That people have not seen, vainly puffed up. Okay? So I'm going to jump right in the last section, to section 3, the war in the skies on earth as it is in heaven. So let's see what that means. So what happened in the past? Enoch 7, 1, 2, and 10. It happened after the sons of men had multiplied in those days that the daughters were born to them, elegant and beautiful. And when the angels, the sons of heaven, beheld them, they became enamored of them, saying to each other, come, let us select ourselves wives from the progeny of men, and let us beget children. Then they took wives, each choosing for himself, whom they began to approach, and with whom they cohabited, teaching them sorcery, incantations, and the dividing of roots and trees. You can read more of the details of what they taught him in Enoch 8, and this is what's referred to in Genesis 6 and 2 Peter 2 and 4. Okay, the angels that he held to be punished. So this is again the connection, the alien are the fallen angel to the Nephilim to the demon. This is the connection. Okay, so you see the star patterns. You see when you watch those Paramount, those 22 stars around the mountain. That's actually Mount Hermon, where they met, later called Mount Olympus. So the gods of Mount Olympus. Okay, and it's 22 stars. Enoch mentions 22 angels. Okay, that fell. Well, the main ones, you know, that led the others, of course. Okay, so I'm reading some more here. Egyptologists Wallace Budge and others link the stars in Sirius, Orion, and Pleiades with emitting spiritual rays of light that vivify gods, men, cattle, and creeping things out of the seed of the soul. Budge even declared the mention of Orion and solstice or Sirius is interesting, for it shows that at one time the Egyptians believed that these stars were the homes of departed souls. So you see how it's connected to the ancestor worship? People think people die and go to hell. I know he's up there watching me. I see that star twinkling. No, he's in the ground. We all go, whether you're good or bad, you all go in the ground. The difference is, are you going to go to the left side to Hades? Or are you going to go to the right side to Abraham's bosom? That's the only difference. Because in the resurrection, people are going to rise and reign with Yeshua, or they're going to rise to be thrown in the lake. That's it. This is Revelation 20. That's it. Daniel. I think Daniel chapter, what is that? Chapter 8? I put it up there. That's it. You're going to rise. Nobody. The only person that ascended was Yahshua. Okay? The rediscovered truth is straightforward. We humans were designed to operate on a cosmic larger-than-life scale as a Superman. Mystics called Adam Cadman and artist Leonardo da Vinci portrayed as perfection personified in the Vitruvian man. That is, our body was the mathematical mirror image of the phi ratio Fibonacci series spiral, the golden meaning of the cosmos. So this goes back to that picture I was showing y'all. The man is divine, but because our creator is divine, we don't have our own divinity. Our glory belongs to the Most High. Our glory goes to the Father. The constellation of Orion is the hunter. Now listen to this, y'all. The constellation of Orion is the hunter, is located along the celestial equator and is therefore visible throughout the world. It is one of the most conspicuous and most recognizable constellations in the night sky, yet it has no place in the modern zodiac. So this is the Giza pyramids as a representation of Orion's belt. So Orion's belt I told y'all about earlier. Okay, this is Orion the hunter. Now who is called the hunter in scripture? There's two people. Number one is Nimrod. He ruled in ancient Babylon. Number two is Esau, who is ruling mystery Babylon. Let me connect this some more. This is Jasher chapter 27, 1 through 8. And Esau at that time, after the death of Abraham, frequently went into the field to hunt. And Nimrod, king of Babel, the same was Raphael, who also went with his mighty men to hunt in the field and to walk about with his men in the cool of the day. And Nimrod was observing Esau all the days, for a jealousy was formed in the heart of Nimrod against Esau all the days. And on a certain day, Esau went into the field to hunt, and he found Nimrod walking in the wilderness with his two men. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness, but they removed at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt. And Esau concealed himself for Nimrod, and he lurked for him in the wilderness. So Nimrod was a great hunter. So was Esau. So let's see what happens. Okay. And Nimrod and 2 of his men that were with him came to the place where they were when Esau suddenly from his lurking place and drew his sword and hastened and ran to cut to Nimrod and cut off his head. And Esau fought a desperate fight with the 2 men that were with Nimrod, and when they were called out to him, Esau turned to them and smote them to death with his sword. So this is when Esau came from the field and seen Jacob fixing that pottage lentil, that red meat, because it wasn't cooked yet. And again, like I told y'all from the Esau video, which they want to put 18 and up. Another thing too, y'all go watch that Who is Esau video, okay? And y'all go back and watch that Willie Lynch video, because the YouTube been really trying to push that back, trying to block it, make it 18 and up, and make it to where they're disabling features on it, because they don't want it to be seen. Even though I petition them time after time, they keep putting it back up. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no name calling or cussing or acting crazy, and it's just showing y'all exactly what it is, what the truth is. So y'all go check that out. You know what I'm saying? Because it breaks down Esau being the end of the world, and we think we're in the end time. We gotta identify Esau on all levels, okay? But this is 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Esau's the end of the world, right? Okay, the 4th kingdom of Daniel is Rome, all right, y'all? So Esau smote him with the sword, and that's when he came in the blessing. He traded it to Jacob because he hated it. Okay, Revelations 8 and 12. And the 4th angel sounded, and the 3rd part of the sun was smitten, and the 3rd part of the moon, and the 3rd part of the stars, so as the 3rd part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a 3rd part of it, and the night likewise. So again, when Satan fell with the 3rd of the angels, the Esau, the Edomites in control are following that. I should say Amalek, which is the chief of nations, according to Numbers chapter 24, which is the so-called Jewish people, the son of perdition. They're running the world right now as we speak. They're running it. And their God is not the God of the Bible. Their God is absolutely Lucifer, Satan. I believe it was one of the guys last name Rosenthal, came out and said, yeah, our God is Satan, and he was killed. The other dude, Finkelstein, came out on talking about McDonald's, how they were chopping up people and chopping up things in their food. Now it's coming all out, but it's been under wraps. But like the scriptures say, nothing will be hidden that will not be made manifest. So back to dealing with who they're following. This white supremacy is following Satanism. Okay, because the people that are ruling this world are rich and powerful white Jewish men, and they're ruling the world by white supremacy. White good, black bad. Covered that, right? On top of that, what did Satan promise? Satan promised people that they can be God. So they think they're God. You follow their ideology, you can be God. Okay, but you're following the fallen one and the fallen ones that fell with them. No different. This is why the lake of fire was created for them and all their followers. The Most High didn't create the lake of fire originally because there was no death. All right, Revelation 12 and 4. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to earth, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. This is a twofold, because he fell in the beginning with the 3rd of the stars, the angels, and then when Yasha was born, he was that dragon, Herod the dragon, the great, the Edomite, the Khazarian. When Yasha was born, he went and killed every child that was below the age of 2 or 3 in the land of Jerusalem. So because he was that dragon waiting to devour the child Yasha, the child of Isaiah 9 and 6. So back to these stars. Let me got a few three more verses to read. 1 Corinthians 15, 40 through 44. Because people want to show, I can see Jupiter. I have this video of Neptune. Like, you think your $500 camera can see billions of... Like, when you just look at how far these quote-unquote planets are in distance, and you think your little $500 camera can see them. Like, CGI has got a lot of people fooled. A lot of people. People don't even know what's real anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because Paul writes, there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. Terrestrial means land, territory. But the glory of the celestial, the heavenly is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. there is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. So not all stars are created the same. I had to show people this. Like, yeah, some of them are red, some of them are green, some of them are like a cluster, like a group of stars. Some of them is just like one small little bitty star. Some of them twinkle and bright. Some of them just kind of stay where they at. I mean, if you ever get a chance, I tell you, like, look at this stuff. Like, we got access to this stuff. You go and just look at people that buy these cameras with these telescopes and just zoom in on stars and just show footage. Like, it looks like water up there, and it shows the water in the firmament. So let's get it. It says, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption and raised in incorruption, because we're born again destined to die. But when we raise up following Yahshua, in corruption, right? It is sown in dishonor, is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. So praise the higher. I hope that this blesses people, this message of truth, not that I'm just spitting, but all brothers and sisters putting out, that that's what they meet, that spiritual body, that body is raised in incorruption. That's the goal. So Jubilees 15:27-32. For all the angels of the presence and the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation, and before the angels of the presence and angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, that they should be with him and with his holy angels. So it's dealing with the nation of Israel. And do thou command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance, that they will not be rooted out of the land. For the command is ordained for a covenant. This is a covenant with the Father, that they should observe it forever among the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his brothers and Esau, the Lord did not cause to approach him. And he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. So Ishmael came from, Ishmael, Esau, all brothers. But who did he choose? He chose Israel. Okay? He said, let's just go further into that. Verse 31, and he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all he had placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. So these different spirits and stars they're following, quote unquote angels, lead them astray because they're not going to listen to his word anyway. He chose Israel, and they're not listening to his chosen. They're listening to none of his prophets, his book. What did they do with his word? They took little parts of it and made their own religions and idols out of it that he told them not to do. But over Israel, he did not appoint any angel or spirit. So we don't have to, we're not supposed to, especially as Israel. Nobody's supposed to be following them. You want to follow righteousness. But Israel, you definitely not supposed. This is why we failed. Look over at Africa, all that nature worship, and look, and we still got taken up in those ships because we wasn't listening to what the Father said. To hell with a horoscope. What does the Father say? His prophecy is going to come true, without a doubt. Always have. But Israel did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. He will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, and that they may be his and he may be theirs from henceforth forever. So this is the thing. I'm supposed to be serving his creation, and I'm going to end with James 1:17. Because he's the father of all creation. We're not supposed to worship it though. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and coming down from the Father of lights. So these lights, these stars, moon, sun, he's the father of those lights. Okay? That's who we're supposed to worship. With whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Okay? So there's no darkness in him. Okay? There's somebody that we can trust. I'm saying it on the end. You see on all these scientific things and encyclopedias I've been reading that they're like, oh, it's pseudo-science, this and that. When they begin to introduce the one world religion that they're going to use to push forth on everybody, they're gonna switch that around. They're gonna say, you know what, we're gonna give y'all this esoteric, ancient witchcraft knowledge that we've been having, that kept us in power. The same stuff that the Egyptians didn't tell the lower class, You got these people, these kindred brothers. Remember, they used to think that everybody in Egypt was treated the same. No, there was a caste system. That's the whole pyramid. There's a caste system. Had the kings, then you had the priests, then you had the scribes, then you had the workers. It was just like today. They're gonna say that, hey, we're gonna give y'all what we've been serving, what we've really been serving, and all the information that comes with it. And it's gonna be the one world religion. Okay, and this is how they're gonna put it across. Okay, they're gonna do it very, very subtly. Okay, they're gonna change their position on that being a pseudoscience. I'm telling y'all, because these are, as y'all seen, these are the guys who they worshiping. We know you don't believe that the government is worshiping the evil one. I guess you had to be sleep under a rock for the last 100 years, man. Because especially in the last 30 years, they've been coming out and just basically telling you. They got shows that's just telling you, commercials, videos, movies, reality. They're telling you. All people don't have the same signs. They're telling you who they're worshiping. And when you follow astrology and fortune telling and everything that comes with it, you're following those same guys, man. You can't defeat evil with evil, man. So, with that being said, seek what the truth is. You understand? Seek what the truth is and seek the origin. All right. Shalom, shalom, y'all. Shabbat shalom.
What it is, man, Gangsta Grills, Hebrew edition.
Jello Beats, holla at me.
Tell your elder I said that is not scripture. Tell your pastor God said that is not scripture. All that false doctrine is not scripture. Ain't about kingdom money, use a counterfeiter. Your precepts out of order like a hot winner. Now you're looking at the truth like it's shoplifter. Need to repent or swim that lava river. And see them gates closed like do not enter. Blood of an ancient used to run with a rusty banger. I'ma stay with none of they neighbors and devils come as angels. Bunch of fake gangsters telling they own publication. Middlemen, snakes in the grass, depth at 100 feet. Noriega fatigues made a way to the east. Ducking agencies, seen they sworn into that Freemasonry. The papacy and false prophets, self-proclaimed goddesses. Dry bones in the valley, I'm a paleontologist. Told them last year the CIA running anonymous. It's a drought on the word, they threw me out of the church. Explain they put the bombs in the buildings and watch the towers burn. High society moving late night, Howard Stern. Got an issue with the census and how it works. Truly believe that Donald Trump is thinking about a purge. Why you think they legalizing grass? 501c3 camp, FEMA buying body bags. Fed Reserve stop supplying cash. Hell is hot and I am not a fan. Brothers thinking that they the ish, just diaper rash. How you in the truth now but lying about your past? Tell your elder I said that is not scripture. Tell your pastor God said that is not scripture. All that false doctrine is not scripture. Ain't about kingdom money, use a counterfeiter.